Now, Eyewitness Sports.
You're watching WPRI OOT or listening, maybe, for those of our podcast loyals. I'm Ruthie Polinsky, joined by Yanni Caracas and Mark Dondero. And Mark is heading to New York City.
Big
the
East
Big
tournament
O.
getting underway.
Jungle where streets are made of.
Yep.
All right.
Ooh, I thought you were going
And
to
you're
keep
going to D.C.?
I'll
What's
be heading to D.C.
song?
on Friday.
You've never been?
The nation's capital.
Are you going to go to the White House and the
I would love
Smithsonian?
I would love to do a little sightseeing while I'm there.
maybe URI gets bounced early. You can't get a new plane ride home. And then you can just tour for a day.
I'm going to go ahead and say I hope that doesn't happen.
All right,
but
it's up to you.
I would like to see a little White House action. So speaking of college basketball, let's get right to it. Conference tournaments this weekend. Who has more to gain? That's our first question. Yanni, you can go first.
I think the obvious answer is Providence, because they need to beat Creighton tomorrow night or they may not be getting into the dance, or they're going to be right on that bubble and potentially get pushed into the first four situation in Dayton. So there's more at stake for the Friars. I think they could still get in if they don't win, but this is as big of a must game as you can have. We know URI is in based on their resume already. There's still a lot at stake for Rhody because they've lost 2 in a row. They want to gain some momentum heading into the big tournament, and they obviously want to improve their seed, which right now, if you look at bracketologists, if they fall in that 8-9 range, that's bad because you get the 1 seed. So there's a lot at stake for both. But more is at stake for PC because in some respects, it's a win and get in game for the big dance. I think Cooley has said this, and most experts would tell you, if they beat Creighton, they are in, nothing to worry about.
Mark?
Yeah, it's tough to disagree with that. Providence, I mean, if you don't get in the tournament, what are we really talking about here? So they need to win the game. But for the sake of the other side of the argument, I will say, I believe Providence, based on the way they've played this year, this isn't just some theory, they've been inconsistent. So I don't think that they can go very far, assuming they get in the tournament. I just don't see a scenario where they get past the first weekend. So with that being said, the argument you can make to say that URI has more at stake is because if they could get some momentum going, some mojo back, and believe me, they lost some swag after their last 2 games, this team, I think, is more equipped to make a run. So if I think that Providence, A, is going to get in regardless of whether or not they, I know it could get dicey, but I think they'll get in regardless of whether or not they beat Creighton, and that they're not going to go very far if they get in. You know, you could say URI is the answer because they've lost momentum. If they can get some of it back, get some confidence back, they have the depth, they have some talent where they could make a run, and I don't think they make that run unless they get some of their momentum back.
Are you a believer in momentum, Ruthie?
I'm a big believer in momentum.
Really?
Well, I was literally just about to draw the parallel. I'm a Michigan grad. Go Wolverines. Love them. Kind of going to draw the parallel because Michigan is always playing their best basketball come conference tournament time, and for some reason they're always in the Sweet 16, Elite 8. If that is any, you know, if there's any correlation between how you play in your conference tournament and then how you play in the NCAAs, there's your proof right there.
I don't know if they're if there's stats behind it.
I don't know.
Generally speaking,
I
with
think
things
that's just
like
been my.
Forget it. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Let me just finish. My point here is to saying I think obviously PC needs to win to help their campaign to get into the tournament, the big dance. But URI, also think about just what a win or how much they could add to this season's legacy almost.
Yeah.
Just if regular season champs, A10 champs, coach of the year, you know, 16-3 or 15-3 or whatever. That's a lot. That would just be one more little cherry on top of the cake for this season, which could be, you know.
And I think URI's
Historic.
safely into the finals. I think maybe a Bonaventure game could be tough, but I think they beat Dayton or VCU, then whoever the next game would be, I guess would be the 4 or 5 seed. I don't know who that is offhand, but PC, when they tip the ball tomorrow at the Garden, are you going to know what to expect? If they're down 10 in the first minute or up 10 in the first couple minutes, I would believe either scenario.
I'll tell you what. If you want an indication, I will look directly to Kyron Cartwright because he would probably be your best indicator as to how they're going to play, how they're going to perform.
Rodney too, I would say.
Yeah, sure. Just quick on momentum. I don't know if there's stats, and I don't think that it's a must that in order to succeed or win a championship, you have to have momentum. I think you can kind of turn it on and figure it out quick and win that way. But momentum is a thing. Stats. Have you ever played a sport? Have you ever felt good for a stretch of time? Shooting, golf shot, basketball, whatever, hitting in baseball. It's real. It helps. So if you have it, that helps.
Momentum goes hand in hand with swag. Like, you walk into a building, you have a confidence about you, and there's an ease about the way you play the game that benefits you.
Yeah,
regardless.
It's all about matchups in the tournament, though. You get a bad matchup, you're done.
That's the other thing too. You know, URI wants to do well so that they don't get that 8 or 9 seed, because that's going to be a tough first round.
Right.
All right, moving on. Patriots. This is funny. This is a funny story. So my mom and my sister were in town this week, and I was showing them the various sports radios, Boston sports radios that we listen to, and we were on 98.5, and they're talking about the Patriots. And my mom's like, "You're talking about the Patriots?" I'm like, "Mom, it's all year." Like, I'm like, Bruins are in season, Celtics are in season, Red Sox are in spring training, and we're talking about the Patriots.
Yep.
I love it.
I'd rather talk about the Patriots than those other three.
I love it. Okay.
Wouldn't you?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the team that moves
But
the
it's
needle
funny
in
for-
football.
9 months out of 12, I'd rather be talking about
From
the
an
Patriots.
outsider perspective, it's very foreign.
And I don't even want to talk about the other sports really unless it's playoff time.
Right.
I mean.
Okay. All right. So our question is: does Belichick get enough pushback? Is this?
So this was kind of on the heels of the. There was an article by Tommy Curran saying, you know, Patricia's gone, some of the players are leaving. It's kind of this transitional type. Who's standing up to Bill, whether it's coaches or players, or is he at this point in his career where he's just, you know, he's got the 5 rings and it's my way or the highway.
Sure.
That's sort of the backstory. I would generally say Josh McDaniels, I would think, give him pushback. I would think if discussing offensive game planning, he and Tom Brady would give him pushback. Ernie Adams, Mark and I were discussing before, his longtime confidant, Consigliere, would give him pushback. Maybe Joe Judge, the special teams coach, but not a whole lot of other people. I think he's probably hearing what his coaches are saying, his son notwithstanding, Stephen Belichick, the safeties coach. But I do think there's something to be said about Bill is at a point in his career. He's had so much success, and there's that quote that he doesn't want to deal with players that he doesn't like anymore, or he just doesn't want to deal with the BS. So I think he is going with his gut and his intuition, and I don't know if it's as collaborative as maybe it was in the early 2000s with Charlie Weis and Romeo Crennel. So I think it's something to consider, but Bill Belichick's way of doing things has gotten the Patriots to where they are today, so it's not a bad position to be in. But yeah, I would probably like a little bit more pushback than what we think is going on in Foxborough, but at the end of the day, we just don't really know what the inner dynamics are.
The answer to the question is probably no, but that's okay. I mean, like you said, this is Bill Belichick. He has been successful. He has won 5 championships. This is his program and his alone at this juncture, aside from the Crafts, obviously. So, yeah, he doesn't probably get enough pushback. Would you like a system of checks and balances, I guess? Somebody that could be there to, you know, I guess tell him no or throw another idea at him. Josh McDaniels, I would think, like you said, has some of that cachet. But this, I don't think, is something that has derailed seasons. I don't think it's derailed many decisions. I just don't think it has. And in fact, one of the things we've been talking about is should the Patriots have traded Jimmy Garoppolo? Okay, we all talk about the second-round pick. Should they have even traded him? Was that Bill's decision? Do we even know?
We don't think it was.
I don't know if it was, and I don't think it was. So there's some pushback for you. How's that working out?
Well, at the highest of high, in terms of the quarterback, Brady, and the owners, that's probably
if he
where
got some
it starts
pushback
and ends.
there, I think based on everything we know, and I was there all year long, he didn't want to trade Jimmy Garoppolo. Ended up trading him because he got some pushback.
Well, Robert
We're trying to
Kraft's
figure
not
out if that's
chiming
going to
in
work
about
out.
a third-round draft pick or
Right, now if you want to criticize him for the second-round draft pick, okay.
Do you think at this stage in his career, he's one of only a handful, if that many, guys who are the GM and the coach? Are you still okay with this arrangement?
Yeah.
Or is there enough role for Nick Caserio that it's not all on Bill?
Look, when your grandfather is 77 years old or whatever, he ain't changing his routine. Like, this is the way it is here. This is the way it's going to be. This is how it's going to, they're going to, you know, the Patriots dynasty will die like this. So that's all you have.
What did you think about Bill on NFL Network seeming all chummy with the guys in the booth?
I wish it was mind-blowing.
Seeing him like that.
Yeah. A little frustrating because those guys don't ask any hard
They
questions.
didn't ask any questions. Like, hey, what are you going to do this draft, Bill?
Yeah, like, you know, no talk about Malcolm Butler or any of the offseason decision. That was kind of annoying. So, of course, he's going to be chummy because he is
He was
there.
bringing a check in to Rich Eisen to St. Jude's.
So they probably don't want to ask him the hard questions because he'd probably like that check. So I don't know. I was.
It was interesting seeing. He was definitely chummy. He obviously respects Mike Mayock, but to be like, oh, this is a great production. You guys do great TV. The ratings. He's talking about all this media
TV
jargon.
Media, like it was.
His relationship with the media
This is
so
how he looked
unbelievable.
in that booth the whole time.
Was he wearing a Johns Hopkins lax sweatshirt?
I mean,
probably.
why does he get so chummy with the national people and certain national people, and then local reporters he destroys? I don't understand his methodology. I don't understand.
When he's not in the grind, he.
Okay.
Yeah, which we don't ever get to see. We don't ever get to see him.
We never see him outside of the
on
grind.
TV. Like if he were to the years he plays in Pebble Beach, if Nance were to have him in the booth for CBS, he'd.
But
probably
again, though,
do
that's
that.
different. That's totally different.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but that's what here he was actually working. He's scouting.
It would be so interesting to see him like that with the people who cover him all year. You know, who are in that press conference room every day. And how he'd react.
Starts
to them.
complimenting us. You guys do a great job.
Yeah.
I mean, geez, those stories you write, the TV segments.
Yeah. Those questions you ask me, you know, they're kind of annoying, but I respect you. Would that give you like some? Would you be like, okay, I can die now? If you heard from Bill Belichick, you're like, look, like.
While he was at the
If you
podium?
guys are at a mutual wedding.
If you're you're
you have a
outside
long-lost
in
cousin,
the off season.
he has a long-lost cousin. They're marrying each other.
Okay.
Off the grind. They're not in the grind,
You
and
guys
you have
are
a conversation.
drinking a couple harpoons.
What's the question?
What would if
I mean,
he came up
if
to
I
you
saw
and
him, if I saw him at a wedding, I would go up to him like I would anybody else that I interact with at work on a regular basis and say, "Hey, Bill." I'd probably reintroduce myself just to be courteous. What are you supposed to do? Like, yeah.
Do you
If
think
he-
he
my
would
question
applaud
was-
you for your daring questions?
Probably not. But I would hope he wouldn't be
You know
a
what he would
complete
say?
jerk.
He'd be like, you've had some good ones over the years.
Yeah.
I think he would say that.
Yeah, I
don't
think
know.
it'd be like, yeah.
I don't. Okay.
All right, this next question kind of ties into what we were just talking about. What would you say are the biggest Patriots off-season storylines? My answer is easy.
Go ahead.
Malcolm Butler. The mystery of Malcolm Butler.
But moving forward, you think he's gone?
Yeah, he's gone. But like, just that no one knows. Like, no one's gotten a straight answer.
It's bizarre.
It's unbelievable to me. I just am ready for it to come out. It's unbelievable. I feel like people are. I mean, they are. Everyone's still talking about Malcolm Butler not playing in the
wait
Super
for
Bowl.
that one along with what happened with the Jimmy G trade and the Bill Belichick anthology book that one day hopefully someone writes.
Oh my God, it'd be amazing.
I think the biggest storyline is what do they do with the defense and how do they try to transition the defense, because forget about the defensive coordinator and they don't have somebody that has that title or whatever, fine. And I don't have a problem with that, by the way. We saw in 2012 when they drafted Dante Hightower and Chandler Jones, that was a transitional year. Yeah. That was a seminal moment, really, where they turned the page and began to focus again on defense, and they won 2 Super Bowls in the aftermath of that. That was a big moment for them. Not only because they had Jones, because Jones wasn't even there for the second one, but that was still a big change in the culture. They were focusing more on defense. I'm interested to see after the Super Bowl and after what happened early in the season, because that was so bad.
Horrendous.
Does something like that happen again? Because you have to prioritize defense once again, especially now. You have Tom Brady, who is about to kind of, I guess, enter the twilight of his career. Can I say that? Are we there yet? I don't know.
We're there.
But if that's the case, you don't have Garoppolo anymore. You are all in on Brady. You've got to get guys that can get the ball back to him and get the defense off the field, because he's still playing at a high level. You want to go all in, you got to get defenders. It's not all about weapons. They can do it without weapons. They need defenders.
So my thing on that is, are the Patriots all in? You have this Tom Brady window. You're clearly sticking with Brady here in the aftermath of the Garoppolo trade. So are you going to have an offseason like after 06? They get Moss, they get Welker. Prior to 14, they went out and get Darrelle Revis and Brandon Browner defensively. Is Bill going to push his chips in the middle of the table and say, all right, we're going to live and die with Brady, greatest quarterback ever. We have to be at this 3-4 year window, and this isn't something he's always done. Those 2 years are an example of when they have kind of been more aggressive, and they did that last year with some signings, including Stephon Gilmore and some other guys. So is this going to be an offseason where they're aggressive through free agency, bolstering that defense through the draft? and the quarterback position. Are they drafting a quarterback on NFL?
So you guys are saying the all in on Brady in two different angles. Like you're saying, we're all in on Brady. Now let's focus on the defense to let him play.
I'm just saying,
you're
from a personnel perspective, are you going to go on a shopping spree?
Him. Get guys.
Offensively, defensively.
Okay.
Just kind of be all in. There's been some off seasons where, two off seasons, but there's just like not much in the draft.
Yeah.
Maybe one or two signings, some mercenaries, some guys that have bopped around the league, but nothing big. So that's.
Can I just clarify something real quick? I'm not talking about a shopping spree. I'm talking about drafting. I'm talking about not trading back. I'm talking about targeting defenders, first round, second round, defense.
Cashing in on some of these picks.
No trading back.
First round pick.
Going for guys. Trading up. I mean, the year they got Jones, they traded up, or Hightower. They traded up. Do they go up and trade up for guys? They have to hit on guys, but Bill Belichick has had a very good history of drafting defensive players in the first round, especially.
Right.
Can he hit on those guys? Can he go get those guys draft, not spending money?
If you want someone at 19 that you love, trade 31 and your third or whatever it is and go to 19. That's what I'm saying, kind of this aggressive nature all in right now. So, and Deion Lewis, I think, is probably out the door. The departures, Alan Branch reportedly done.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think Amendola stays. Solder, I think, will be back. Who else is out there?
Let's move on.
All right.
Yeah, we're going to move on. Gronk.
Okay.
We don't know about Gronk.
I think
that's probably the biggest storyline.
Yeah, that's actually probably one of the biggest stories. All right.
Not for me. I think he's coming back.
We're going to the Bees.
B's, C's, PBs.
Couple of injuries. Charlie McAvoy. Are you concerned about these injuries at this time?
I am concerned. I am concerned. The playoffs are looming, and your best defenseman, arguably, I think he's their best defenseman because he's been at the core of the renaissance or at the foundation of the renaissance that we've seen out of Zdeno Chara. Charlie McAvoy is a big part of that. So he goes down for 4 weeks, and then they're going to reevaluate him after 4 weeks. That's a problem. Patrice Bergeron is out, broken foot. I expect him to be back because he's the toughest guy, arguably, in Boston outside of Tom Brady or whatever. I mean, the guy, he plays with broken feet, and he's tough, and he'll be back. And then you got Tuukka Rask. So,
you hate Tuukka.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not going to get into that. I'm just going to say he does have a propensity to not always be on top of his game. So you have to have the best defensive people in front of him to help him out. And when McAvoy is out and the best defensive forward in the NHL, Patrice Bergeron, is out, that can leave you vulnerable. So with the playoffs looming, you'd like your best defensive guys especially in there when you consider especially how the Bruins have scored this season. Go look at the stats. Brad Marchand, in the last, whatever it was, I forget if it's 100 games or 200 games, he has outscored Sidney Crosby. So this guy has been unbelievable. And offensively, they've been the opposite of what they were back in 2011 when they won the Cup, where they couldn't score. They had no power play.
Yeah.
Now they have all the offensive weaponry, seemingly, especially when Bergeron was in. I'm concerned with him out and him having been out for a long period of time leading into the playoffs.
So how long is Bergeron out for?
Broken foot, what was it, 6 weeks, 4 weeks? I mean, they expected to have him back for the playoffs.
All right, the injuries aren't ideal, right? Arguably their best offensive and defensive player, but I think they're going to withstand it. This team has impressed me all year long when guys have been, Marchand was out for suspension for 4 games. They withstood that. Tuukka, your boy, was kind of splitting time with Anton Hudobin early on. So I think they've been able to manage some stretches without being at full strength, so to speak. And I think this is the most impressive team probably since 2013 when they went to the Stanley Cup. So I think, do they drop a spot or two in the standings? Maybe, but I don't think standings is all that important in NHL playoffs. Unlike the NBA, anyone in the Stanley Cup playoffs can win regardless of seed. Once you're kind of in, you prefer to have home ice advantage, but I'm not that worried. I'm like a 3 on the panic meter.
Yeah, I think with the timing of everything, like playoffs should be, knock on wood, everyone should be good to go.
What are we, a month away? When are the playoffs?
Timing,
Mid-April?
Mid-April. The timing is my biggest concern. To your
you think
point,
it's going to mess up the juju?
Well, they were playing very well when McAvoy had the heart issue and he was out for a stretch.
Yeah.
They withstood that too.
Right.
So they have been able to do that. But that was a guy here, a guy there. Now it's 2 of your best players, 1 forward, 1 defenseman, Tuukka Rask missed the last 2 games with a very, very minor injury, but he still missed the last 2 games. And Anton Khudobin looked like dog crap against the Red Wings the other night. So he's been good all year, did not look good the other night. So it'd be nice to have some time to get those guys back playing hockey before the playoffs.
Sure.
I'm not super concerned, but I am. I'm not going to say I'm not concerned.
Right.
Your 2 best players, arguably on both levels, are out. It could be a while, and the playoffs are looming.
Panic meter.
5.
3.
Remember our panic meter all New England Nation all year
Yeah,
for
we had-
defense?
Yeah, I don't remember that one.
Little did we
Big
know that
panic
it would
meter
all
guy.
culminate in a Super Bowl loss. Dun dun dun. Yeah.
All right.
All right. It's been fun, guys. Really great time here today with you both, as always. You can catch the full episode on WPRI.com. You can catch all of our episodes on WPRI.com, and make sure you check out the podcast on.
Subscribe
Subscribe to that podcast on Apple Music. Apple Music?
Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts. We'll see you next time.